What's going on today, guys? Primal Sabbath here, and it has been a while. Don't expect too much more, I would say, out of me. But I wanted to kind of tackle all of Kingdom Wave 1 whenever I got it. Now, before we go on with this, I do realize that there's a Warpath, an Optimus Prime, another Optimus Prime, and a Cyclonus missing. But to me, those aren't Kingdom. That's just incessant spillover into what is otherwise supposed to be the 25th anniversary of Beast Wars. So, just to go ahead and get that out of the way, this to me is Kingdom. This will always be Kingdom. And I do plan on doing this with the remaining waves of the Kingdom line, just to kind of talk about, the Beast Wars updates that we are getting here. And I finally have all of Wave 1 in, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. I wanted to take a look at them as a unit and kind of talk about them and then go forward into, like, what my kind of hopes and expectations for Wave 2 and beyond are. Now, we got a pretty good mixture here. Like, I like this. I like that there are 4 bad guys to the 3 good guys. And it seems like Wave 2 will kind of carry that on. Like, I think we're getting Ractonite, who's a bad guy, and Dinobot, who is labeled as a Predacon, as he should be, and Air Razor. I think Air Razor is the only Maximal. So that's something to keep in mind, something that I'm pretty much looking forward to. But let's talk about this kind of compared to, I've cherry picked some of Siege and Earthrise and stuff like that. And then obviously I didn't really go too deep into the Prime War stuff. But yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to compare them to the originals, the ones that we can, of course. And we'll compare the ones that we can to the masterpieces. So, which is a silly comparison, but I feel like it needs to be done regardless. But first I want to kind of talk about plastic quality on these. It is sort of all over the place. And I don't want to say that it's a cheap plastic. I hate the term cheap plastic. But some of these feel like the same kind of plastics that they used on the Kabaya kits. Like Rat Trap specifically. Now, I know it's just a texture thing and less so a quality thing, but like whenever I was messing with Rat Trap, I was like, wow, this feels kind of like a Kabaya kit. And like even some parts of Cheetor also felt the same. Now, whenever I got to Primal here, I was like, all right, this does not feel, and again, it could just be the texture, but this does not feel like that kind of Kabaya kit plastic from, however many years ago the Kabaya kit stuff happened, what have you. So there's that. And then again, this is Vertebrake, I think. She kind of also has that, but again, it's smaller figure. Now let's get into Paleotrex, who I think kind of has like that what I'm expecting, from like plastic feel. From a mainline deluxe. So Paleotrex was solid, and truth be told, Black Arachnia is too. Now we'll get into some of the other issues that I'm going to have with the line so far, but otherwise, like Black Arachnia is just she's just a scaled down masterpiece, and so like I dig that. Now I have a problem with Megatron, and a lot of that is because like almost all of him is kind of covered in this sort of like rubbery plastic. As you can see, like this just was not like lined up, but he's got this weird rubbery plastic just like on all over him. And it's just, I don't know how well that's going to hold up in the future. Otherwise, like it's a fun leader class toy. I did not like the images I saw of him online, but whenever I got him in hand, I was like, oh, okay, well, it's not as bad as I was thinking it was. But I do have an issue with that, like, rubbery plastic. It's just all over him. Like, I don't know. I feel like that was just a bad design call. And again, I'm not particularly confident in how well that's going to hold up. Now, quality-wise, reviews from other people have been out for quite some time. So, I mean, I think a lot of people are going to know the issues with Cheetor and Black Arachnia. Fortunately, my Cheetor doesn't have the issue with that little peg in there. But I feel like these toys, and it could be due to the pandemic and things like that, where they weren't able to go through the rigorous, prototyping stages, just because I'm sure they probably designed some of the stuff from home. Like, I don't know. That doesn't really add up to me personally. Like, I think these are all like 2 years out. I think it's like give or take the common perception of like from concept to shelf, right? So, like, I don't know, but like, I feel like if there was a hard copy prototype of this, like, that little tab would have definitely been broken. And maybe it's not because of the pandemic. Maybe it's just a cost cutting measure. To just like look at it in 3D CAD and be like, okay, so the program says this isn't going to do this. It says it's going to be fine. The tolerances are okay. But like in physical practice, like it's not. And like, again, I don't know. By all means, if a designer from Hasbro that worked on Kingdom would like to confirm or deny or set me straight on that, I would love it. But as it is, that's my assessment. That's just my guess. And the same with Black Arachnia. Some people had the issue with the chest tab. I also had that issue. Let's get it to focus in. As you can see, like, I was able to like get the chest unpegged, but like there was so much stress on the peg. By the time I plugged it back in, like it just snapped off in there. It's not necessarily a detriment, but like, again, I feel like it's just poor design. That, like, in my opinion, would not have happened if like some of the proper prototyping practices would have been implemented. Let me zoom back out for that. But yeah, so like that's ultimately those are the negatives, and I wanted to kind of start with the negatives so I could go on with the positives. But are they like deal breaking negatives? No, like not for me. Like, Black Arachnia and Cheetor, they're $20 figures. Megatron, kind of like that's what was he, like $60 US, something like that. But aesthetically, he's very pleasing, and we're looking at him in beast mode here, and I love this beast mode scale. Again, see, aesthetically pleasing. So there is that. I don't think there's going to be much worse, like bad happening quality issues. Although I will say, like, this vertebrake uses this kind of like rubbery plastic, and it just seems to get a little gummy and stuck. Like, I can move it around and it'll be fine, but let's get that a little bit brighter in here. Move it around and it'll be fine, but like getting it to move, like after it's where it is, it's just going to kind of stick and feel a little gummy. But that's also just kind of I wouldn't call it a nitpick, but I'm hesitant to really mess with it too much going forward. I do like the weapon storage options. Obviously, Primals isn't as clever as, say, Black Arachnia or Cheetor or even Paleotrex or Megatron. Rat Trap, that's not his proper weapon storage. It's a little more on the nose, but it'll fit up there just like the original. So I do like that. I like that as as options go. So like, that's them in beast mode. Let's go ahead and get them into robot mode, and we'll talk about them that way. All right, now we got everybody in robot mode, and we can kind of continue on. So I like this. This, just as a group on a shelf where it will be, I really enjoy it. Again, Megatron, I had the most kind of problems with, and even like just looking at him from this angle, it's kind of like the backpack, like it was kind of bothering me. It's kind of, a little off-putting. The fact that the tan bits ended up on top instead of the green bits still kind of bothers me. But after like having been able to mess with it and play with it, like it's a great, it's a great figure. Like, I think it is a really awesome update to the original. There's a variant out there. Apparently, maybe it was a mishap that has like the toy head, which a lot of people are thinking that's going to be the T-Rex that's potentially rumored. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. So yeah, like this, I like this. I like this scale across all of them. Like, you can kind of see that Cheetor is just a smidge taller than Black Arachnia, and like I think that Rat Trap pairs well, kind of like with Cheetor as is. And then obviously we have like the new characters. The new characters have me the most excited. The fossilizers. I have a huge soft spot for new characters, so like I'm in for all the fossilizers, and I think that they have a lot of like really cool like little Easter eggs tied up. Like Paleotrex has Optimus Primal's mace, as you can see by his head, but it also kind of doubles as an homage to the old like mutant mask gimmick, because you can flip his head up or you can flip that mask up rather, to kind of properly reveal his robot head, which again I think is awesome, and it kind of carries over the gimmick of like the weaponizers or whatever they were called from Siege, where you can break apart and kind of plug into various 5mm ports. That said, not a lot of these figures have those kind of all over the place 5mm ports, and I certainly appreciate that. Kind of puts you in a box with stuff like Paleotrex. Like I think that he'll be able to peg into random spots like on the bottoms of feet and stuff like that. Like I think Cheetor has, so Cheetor's got the pegs. I think Black Arachnia does too. Primal does, so on and so forth. So there is that. But I do really appreciate this scale. I like this Rat Trap more than I thought I was going to like this Rat Trap. And at first I was just like, man, I don't see how that's going to top the Generations one. We'll get into that comparison when we get into it. But I think they did a great job. I think, again, he scales properly with this. And I feel like the gimmick here is definitely that scale. Primal and Megatron look great together. All around, it's just solid. Again, referring to the damage here, it's not like this stays down just fine. So it's a strange thing. Technically it's broken. Technically it's quote unquote devalued. But if you're like valuing these things for like a resale later, just don't take them out. Don't enjoy them. It's pretty simple. But that said, my issue with a lot of these is like Primal kind of the exception. Megatron definitely the exception. Paleotrex is an exception. Rat Trap is an exception. Like the storage for weapons in robot mode, or the lack thereof, is kind of a like issue I have, because I've always felt like Beast Wars was really good with weapon storage. Now Primal can store swords. Black Arachnia, you really can't store her gun. Like you can kind of wedge it in her backpack, and like there's that. But like even Rat Trap, like he's got this little place to store his weapon, and like I wish more of that was built in. Cheetor's tail axe, you really can't. You can plug it in here, but as you can see, it's like longer than his leg length. Easy way around that, I guess, is you can just sort of wedge it into his backpack here, but it's just not that great. So I wish they would have implemented a better weapon storage option for all these figures. Vertebrake also does not have weapon storage for that. Well, I think maybe... Oh, nope, that's still kind of gonna... I don't know if you see that, but it's just a little too long, like, to really kind of go back to where and how it needs to store. So, like, there is that. But, like, I feel like that's just a super minuscule gripe, because most people are probably going to display all of these, holding their weapons or doing something with their weapons to some degree. But this is a great looking shelf. This reminds me of just how colorful the 1996 Beast Wars line really was. We've got yellows and browns and oranges. And then we've got like the blacks and whites. We've got, purples and greens. Like, it's just really cool. So speaking of the original line, let's go ahead and kind of compare how these really stack up with that original line. All right, so here we have them compared to the originals. Now, obviously, there are some very stark differences. One being color schemes all around, it seems. With the exception, I guess, of like Primal and the grays on Rat Trap. But, you can tell that Cheetor is a drastically different yellow, but I think they're kind of doing something a little more close to that original yellow for the Netflix Cheetor. Black Arachnia for sure got the absolute best treatment. Megatron, drastically different purples. Drastically different. But I think, again, kind of for the best, right? But, you can see that, the new Rat Trap is significantly smaller, but in my opinion has a lot more articulation and a lot more to offer. Cheetor doesn't have his two guns, but I think there is like an add-on set or two out there for you to do that. Megatron has a hand instead of just a launching claw grabby gimmick, and no mutant mask, which is unfortunate. I do hope that that's something, like, if they do make a T-Rex, I hope that's something that they include, with that T-Rex. But like, the coolest thing I think is Primal here. He retains the swords, he retains the shoulder cannons. I don't have them deployed right now, but I mean, you watch any review, you'll see it. And he also gets the forearm mounted rocket launchers that the MP has. Like, I think that Primal is just above and beyond, like, probably like the best. And I feel like you could kind of integrate some of these figures in to your original Beast Wars display. I know a lot of these vintage toys are becoming more and more expensive, so like, that is something to keep in mind. But I did want to just sort of share here, the then and now sort of thing. So let's see how they integrate with previous updates, and maybe how they could all fit in with your previous, like, Generations figures, Universe figures, stuff like that. All right, now here we have the old kind of Classics 10th Anniversary, Universe Generations, whatever you want to call them. There's 2 United releases in here, Takara Generations, so on and so forth. So yeah, like, there was a time when, this was probably going to be the LGEX. Like, there was a time I thought, like, that was going to be, like, the best Classics update Black Arachnia that, like, we would ever get. I never thought we would get anything outside of, like, these deluxes, and, like, we ended up getting a Rhinox, and, like, that was pretty cool. Obviously there was Universe Henkei Dinobot, but, like, we'll save that for whenever Dinobot is relevant in this type of a review setting. So, yeah, just kind of wanted to show, like, how far we've come. Now, I do see a lot of people taking their Legends or even Generations Rat Trap and kind of, like, shifting that over to the Masterpiece display until a proper Masterpiece is made. Scale-wise, that Rat Trap is great for Masterpiece, in my opinion. Aesthetically, he does not fit Masterpiece at all. And that's just, I don't know, feel like that's pretty solid, assessment there. But, you do whatever you want with your stuff. I'm probably not going to sell any of this stuff. Just don't see the point in selling it, but I'll figure out a spot to put it. It'll be outdated and irrelevant, but, that's kind of the name of the game with Generations and things like that going forward. But just interesting to see how far we've come, in my opinion, from the old updates. Like, if you didn't love me in my 2008, you don't deserve me in my 2021, like, whatever. So that's a terrible Cheetor that you couldn't give that away. Like, I'm pretty sure it would just end up, like, back on your, like, front doorstep the next day. Just a curse. He's just cursed. So yeah, finally, let's look at them with their Masterpiece counterparts. Well, the ones that we can, obviously. There is no Masterpiece for Rat Trap. So, and we'll just kind of wrap up with that, and then we'll get into final thoughts. Here are the ones that we can compare with their Masterpieces from Wave 1. And yeah, I mean, there's really no comparison here. The Masterpieces are significantly higher priced and therefore show for it. I think it would be silly for anyone to, like, legitimately make this as a comparison. But, like, in my opinion, I think, like, Primal and Black Arachnia are probably, like, as close as you're gonna get. They seem to kind of share some of that same sort of engineering, where Cheetor is drastically different. Megatron is just significantly different. He cleans up a lot better, even though, like, you can barely see his just build through all of this. But, like, this definitely isn't meant to be Masterpiece. Like, Masterpiece is for sure its own thing, and I look forward to seeing that continue without a doubt. But, like, this is nice. Like, if you're priced out of Masterpiece, like, I don't think there's any problem with going in on the Kingdom stuff. The Kingdom stuff it's wonderful. Like, again, I think that this scale translates well between the classics, the Generations, whatever, and, like, the Masterpiece. Like, if you compare the two, like, I think it's, like, obviously the Masterpiece is gonna be, a slave to the original cartoon designs, and that's why I love it so much. And I would not want that out of a mainline Beast Wars thing. I like that there are some liberties taken here with Cheetor and with Primal, and even to a degree with Black Arachnia. Like, Black Arachnia probably looks the closest, as does Primal. But like, like Megatron, he's got some differences there. Cheetor has some differences there. And that's what I crave. I don't want a rehash of 96. I don't want a rehash of the Masterpiece. I want something different that will stand out on the shelf. And I think Kingdom does a great job at being different and standing out on the shelf. So, yeah, I think that's all like well and good there, but I just thought it would be interesting to sort of see them with their Masterpiece counterpart. All right, so final thoughts and just kind of seeing how some other figures kind of better integrate into the line. Really digging Wave 1 so far for Kingdom. This is definitely shaping up to be fun. It's been a long time since I've been excited for a mainline release. And like, I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic to see like where this is going. I do have Kingdom Dinobot in as part of like Wave 2. That'll probably be the only one that I review by itself. Dinobot's my favorite character. Certainly, everyone who's kind of followed my channel more or less understands. But like, that will be the only single review exception. But I did want to kind of see how Takara Tomy, the Generations Rhinox and Waspinator looked in with this group, and they both look fantastic. And I know that they are both rumored for Kingdom. Part of me hopes that it's just repacks of these older molds, so like maybe I can potentially skip them. But I got a feeling it's going to be new molds for both of them to kind of better fit the scale and kind of better fit the aesthetic. But like, this is good for me right now. I really do dig this. We at least have the original Axelon crew, and I mean, obviously with Kingdom Dinobot, I've got the Season 1 crew, but we're going to be kind of short on the Dark Side crew, which is super disappointing to me. Like, I wish that they would forego Waspinator and Rhinox for, I think it's Pterosaur and Tarantulas, or maybe it was Inferno and Pterosaur that weren't going to make it. Or Inferno, and there's two of them that allegedly, like, we aren't going to get. Like, we are going to get Tigatron, allegedly, and we're going to get Shadow Panther from Cheetor, which I think is great and cool, and that's all well and whatever, but I do wish we would have gotten Pterosaur or Tarantula, whoever we're going to end up missing. Inferno, I think, was definitely one of them, so, but, it is what it is. Overall, so far, great line. So far, insanely fun toys. They have their problems for sure. Primal's got some paint coming off of the thighs, that white paint. Megatron with the rubber bits. Cheetor and Black Arachnia with their tabs, although it's not detrimental to any kind of stability, but, those who are kind of anal retentive about breakages are going to face some problems with that. So, looking forward to the repaints we get. Hopefully it's not all just Netflix random repaint stuff, but yeah. So that's been it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down in the comments below, and let me know who your favorite Wave 1 Kingdom figure is. It's really close for me for Wave 1. Like, it's really close between Primal and Megatron for sure. And I'm generally not that big of a fan, like, of either of them in their own kind of like regards, especially like as far as toys go, just because we've gotten so many. Big runner-up is going to be Paleotrex. Love the fossilizers. Big fan of that as an idea. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you later.